Hey guys, this is Dr. Nelson. I'm not going to do a lecture today. I originally was going to have a short lecture for today, but I did want to very briefly say a couple of quick words. I know I talked a lot on Tuesday, and I think I overdid it a little bit. And I needed to kind of talk a little bit more about the class itself. And I know a few of you, hopefully, who are watching this, I know a few of you weren't there on Tuesday. So I did also want to kind of recap a couple of quick things. And because Tuesday is, I got one day, hour and 15 minutes. I don't want to waste too much time in class on little stuff. So sometimes I will push things like this to online. But I try not to record too many videos. I know the last thing you want to hear is me any more than you have to. And there will be other lectures online. So, and again, for the people who are maybe just joining us that weren't here on Tuesday, that was kind of the big message, is that this is a hybrid class. So half of it is in person and then half of it is online. And plus we have homework, and that homework will also be online. So you definitely need to be on Georgia View a lot. I was hoping to get this up by 2 o'clock. I'm recording this on Thursday, but it is 1:34 right now, and I have to pick my son up. So I'm probably going to record this, go get my son, come back, and then upload it. So I bet it won't be up to about 4 today. My goal in the future is to have anything that's online, have it up anytime between Tuesday and Thursday around 2. I may not make that deadline, but that's my personal goal, because normally we would be meeting at 2 o'clock on Thursday. So that's my goal, but I'll probably have things up even earlier than that. A couple of quick things, even though I didn't get to see all of you, but I was very happy to meet you guys. And I know I tend to, it's funny, in private life, I'm very quiet. And he's, I don't say much, but I get really loud in the classroom. And as I was driving home, I thought, geez, I probably came off kind of arrogant and loud, and because I don't really, you guys don't know me yet and stuff. So, but I really enjoyed meeting you guys, and I'm really looking forward to the class. One thing I did want to talk about just for a second, probably nobody cares but me, but I did ask you guys a bunch of questions on a questionnaire. And again, for those who weren't there on Tuesday, you can find it online. And in a moment, I'll show you where you can find everything in just a moment. But I did kind of want to share a couple of your answers. Some of these I'm going to deal with later, not today, but I did want to cover a couple of quick things. Not surprising, most of you are in the History and Government program. That makes sense. This is a History and Government class. So 18 of you that were there on Tuesday were History and Government majors. We had 4 in the rural, I hate that word, community development program. Although I think I lost a couple of them. I looked at my roll today and I said, oh, I think I scared them away, but I think I still got one from that program. And we got one in writing and communication. And this person wants to be a journalist. And that's like public history, journalism is something near and dear to me. I used to want to be a journalist, and I still think history is kind of journalism. So the more interesting question, though, is what do you guys actually want to do when you get out of college? What are you really here for? We have a couple for social work, although I think they may be the ones who dropped out. 5 of you want to be lawyers, which I thought was really cool. I know a lot of lawyers come out of our program. And you've probably been told this before, but there is a real connection between history and the law. 2 of my best professors in history were also lawyers. Because if you think about it, when you practice law, you're making a case. You have an argument, like a thesis. You present your argument, you study case law, you study previous cases, you look at all the evidence, you present all of that, and then you conclude your argument. That's exactly what historians do when we write books, articles, papers. We're doing literally the same thing. So the skills you're going to learn in history classes like this one are the same skills you're going to be using in the law. We got somebody wants to be a city manager. Glad to see a few of you want to be public historians. As I said the other day, that's really what I originally was in grad school for. I love public history. So a couple of you want to be curators. A couple of you want to get into historic preservation. A few of you are not quite sure. That's totally fine. I mean, you're getting to the point where you maybe need to start deciding, but you still have plenty of time. 6 of you want to go into teaching, whether it's high school or being a professor or something along those lines. And again, we got a journalist, and somebody just wants to be a historian, which that's how I was. I was kind of wide open where I wanted to go. And actually, by the way, 2 of the people that want to teach also they want to be either a football coach or I think coach wrestling. And I have to be honest, I always tease about that. Because my joke when I first teach in US1 or US2, I always say, I'm not a football coach, I'm actually a historian. But actually one of my professors, one of my mentors, a guy named Dan Schaefer, he started his career as a football coach and then he later became a college professor. So anyway, most of you, not surprisingly, are from Tifton, but only 8 of you. And a lot of that 8 are from Macon, or I can't read my handwriting, sorry, Cordele, we got Bainbridge, got Jacksonville, my hometown. I got a couple of you from Moultrie. This one I wasn't familiar with this one, so I'm probably mispronouncing it. Hazelhurst, I hope I said that right. Rebecca, Georgia, I hope that's right. Wiggum, Cairo, Sylvester, St. Mary's, Georgia. My honeymoon, my wife and I, that was our honeymoon night, was in St. Mary's. Weeki Wachee, Florida. Whoever that is, I want to talk to you. did you actually live at Weeki Wachee, the park, or did you, anyway, I've never met somebody from Weeki Wachee. They got Osceola, got Camilla, and Pearson, Georgia. So again, we got a little bit of everything in here. I'm glad to have you guys. Most of the other questions I won't go over too much. I will say this is a pet class. Almost everybody has pets. 4 of you said no, but 2 of those 4 had them at home with your family. Mostly dogs, but we got a few cats in there. Got a tarantula, got some goats, cows. Later when we talk about pets, that will be interesting because there's a specific definition of pets. And basically you can't eat your pets. So if you're going to eat those animals, they're not your pets, but maybe you're not going to eat them. We got horses, sheep, ducks, chickens, hamster. So we got a lot of pets here. As I said, people think this class is about environmentalism. It's not, even though next week we are going to talk about it. But I was a little surprised that most of you were very much like, I'm not an environmentalist. Because for college students, usually there's a large number. About half of you were like, I think one person even wrote, hell no. 4 said yes. And then there were about 5 or 6 that were like, maybe, I don't know. And that's okay. I guess I was expecting a slightly bigger number. A few of you grew up on farms. As you know, I do study abroad. I'll be talking about it quite a bit. That's why I asked you guys about if you've been out of the country before. And actually, a lot of you have. I think 12 of you have, including Belize, which is I've been to a few times. And a lot of Canada, and you got Germany in there, got Ireland, got France. And hopefully some of those you might have done through study abroad. So anyway, I'll be talking to you about Scotland down the line. Most of you have been to zoos, although a couple of you haven't. I was surprised which zoo was number 1. 9 of you have been to the Jacksonville Zoo. I couldn't believe it. That's where I'm from. That was my zoo. It's not a great zoo. It's okay. I did not think that many people were going to go say Jacksonville Zoo. In fact, I was going to go there this summer and take some photos for the class. And I thought, who wants to go to the Jacksonville Zoo? And I thought everybody had been to the Atlanta Zoo. I think only 3 people said Atlanta. So anyway, we'll talk more about zoos and stuff like that later. I'm a big film buff, so I'm always asking you guys what movies you watch. I'm hoping to show maybe a movie or 2 up at Tifton at some point this fall. I'm a big horror film fan. I love old movies and stuff. So, and anyway, and I'm glad to see most of you read. That's one of the most important things you can do, especially for history and the law and journalism, is reading, reading, reading. Okay, let's talk about the class for just a moment. Real stuff about the class now, not just me rambling. I did put some dates in. Let me go ahead and share my screen. So let me awkwardly do this. I always screw this up. Hopefully. Okay, I think it should be sharing now. I'll check the video after I record it, see if it actually worked. You should be looking at Georgia View. It's a screenshot of Georgia View. So you will need to be on Georgia View a lot. I mean, you should check it every couple of days. Like I said, I'll try to have everything that's online for that week. I'll try to have at the latest by Thursday. And if it's any later, I'll make sure that I make up for it. Like I give you a later due date, or next week I won't put anything up, but I'll try my best to have them done early. And again, you see the calendar on the right. I did go ahead and update some of the calendar due dates. So for those of you who weren't here on Tuesday, everything I gave out is located online. You can click on content. When you click on content, you'll see a folder for syllabus. There's a folder with a typo in it that's about, I think I fixed that before after I saw that. That has a little bit about me. No one wants to hear about me anymore. I talked too much about myself the other day. And then handouts that I gave out, your writing assignments, like your research paper is on there. And then you'll also see week 1, week 2, week 3, all the way down to 15. And within that folder, you'll see everything that's due that week. I will also try to have a little announcement on the front page. That's where this video obviously is going to be. And it'll kind of say, welcome to week 1. And I'll have links to everything you need to turn in. So that way you can just go to the front page and there everything is. But if I don't do that, you can just go to content and find. And I know you guys should know how to do all of this. I don't think I need to explain too much. As far as, again, if I don't provide a link, if you want to go ahead and just turn it in directly, you just click on assessments and you'll see this pull down menu and you click on assignments and you can see I've updated it since Tuesday. I have a lot of the assignments in here already. And I try to go ahead and put a due date in so it pops up in your calendar. And I did go ahead and put in dates for your research paper. So I'll go ahead and mention those. The final draft will be due on November 18th. That's just a few days before our final. I don't want you doing it when I want you to study for the final. So I made it the Thursday before our final, which is on a Tuesday. But I do want you to do some stuff for your research paper before. So I am going to ask you for a topic on by November, excuse me, by September 6th. You can turn it in early. You can email me tonight if you know a topic, but that's the latest you can get me your topic. And I will approve most things, but I do want to make sure it is environmental history and that you have sources. And then by the end of September, September 27th, I would like at least a list of some of the sources you're going to use. Otherwise, I want to see evidence that you've done a search and looked at your topic and seen what's out there. And then on October 18th, which is a little bit after the midterm, I want some kind of thesis. I'm sure you're going to change it. I'm sure you're going to tweak it. But the way I feel is that you can't write anything until you know what it is you're saying. It's just like being a lawyer. You don't want to go to a trial and your lawyer goes, I don't really know if my client's innocent or guilty. Let's go over the evidence and then we'll all find out. You want your lawyer to already know whether you're innocent or guilty, right? And so again, you can't really write a paper until you know what it is you're trying to say. So that's why I'm trying to push you to have your thesis first, your argument, then worry about the writing. But like I said, I know you're going to tweak your thesis. I might help you with it, but I want you to at least be thinking about it, which means in September and early October, you need to be doing reading, you need to be doing research so that by mid-October, you have an idea what you're writing. And then by late October, I would like to see an outline, just a simple outline, nothing major, not annotated, just a simple outline. How are you going to go from here to here to here? And then your final draft. I'm not going to make you turn in a rough draft. I don't want to go through a bunch of rough drafts. I do want to, again, push you guys to be creative in your topics. It has to be environmental history, but it can be lots of things. I'm really pushing you guys to do some local stuff. There may not be enough sources to do local. There are a lot of newspapers online, though, and I'm going to put a link later to a good website that has a lot of old Georgia newspapers that you can use. My US 2 class, I make them talk about the Spanish flu of 1918 in Southwest Georgia. They literally find hundreds of articles on it. So there is a lot out there. But it may not work, but I would love to see you guys try to do a local topic if you can, because that way you get your hands into the real sources. Maybe you could do interviews, maybe you can go down to the courthouse. And if you do that, if you're able to do it, you're probably going to write something that nobody's ever written before. And that's something that you can think about taking to a conference. I've taken several students to conferences already. That's something you can think about publishing. And it'll be something much better than my dumb book review that I published way back when. And it's something you can maybe think about turning into your capstone. And again, the more you can do original research and the sooner you can do that, the better, because you just get better and better at it. Like I said, I know not everybody wants to be a historian, but for those who really want to be historians, I hope you think about getting involved and doing some primary research. And I hope you're already thinking about publishing, going to conferences, presenting your research. And again, I love working with students on that. So anytime you really want to do that, let me know, and I'll work with you on that. I'm looking at my notes. Sorry, let me see what else I want to talk about. One other thing, again, just kind of how the class will work. Like I said, we'll meet every Tuesday, and then there will be work online for the rest of the week. Sometimes the online stuff will be directly related. Sometimes it might be two separate things. So every week online, it might be readings like this week. It might be class discussions online. It might be a recorded video or a lecture. It might be a documentary. It might be a bunch of little videos. Or it might be a little bit of all of that. It won't be all of it, but it might be 2 or 3 of those things. So again, just keep checking, make sure you do the work. I'll try to make most stuff that you have to turn in due the Monday before Tuesday, like the Monday night. So that gives me a chance sometimes to look over stuff before class if I can. But so I'm trying to give you as much time as I can. And I will do my best to have everything in by Tuesday for the following week. But like I said, my ultimate goal is to have things up by Thursday at the latest. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? I think ultimately that's it. When we do meet on Tuesdays, every week, I mean, some topics are going to carry over a couple of weeks. If you look at the syllabus, I have a ton of lecture topics. I'm not going to get to all of those. I would love to. I'm not going to get to all of those, but I'm going to try to do my best. But every week, one thing I'm going to try to do is, have a new word or a new concept, or maybe talk about a particular historian. And my goal with the class is by the end, you have a good sense of what environmental history is, who are some of the major players in that. You know some of the jargon, some of the main buzzwords to use. And I also want you to be able, again, to know some of those major historians. And that reminds me, I do have one more thing I did want to talk about for 2 seconds. So this week, you're reading a chapter from this book, a book, I know you can't see it because it's real tiny, but Major Problems in American Environmental History, edited by Carolyn Merchant, the woman on the screen you see. It's a very extensive book, but it's just a series of articles. I know this is not the most exciting reading. It's never fun to read historians writing about history. I know that. And these are great historians, but they're not always the most exciting writers. So try to focus on the ideas of what they're writing about. Don't get hung up on the dryness of some of the writing. So one of the writers you're reading is Carolyn Merchant. She's at Berkeley. She's still around. She's one of the founders of the field. Most of her work was really in the 80s. She writes a lot about gender in the environment, but she also writes a lot about the role of science and how we perceive nature. We'll be talking a lot about Carolyn Merchant. Another person you're reading is somebody you may have already read, William Cronon. If there's one spokesperson for the field, this would be the guy. He just retired back in December. Super nice guy, easygoing guy, has a great website. Not always the most exciting writer. Some of you may have read his book, Nature's Metropolis. I know Dr. Pryor uses that. I have to be honest, I hated that book. It's a brilliant book. It's great stuff. I hated reading it. The book you're reading, though, and it's your first book review, is Changes in the Land by Cronon. It's a nice, tight little book. I really like this book. And like I said, you can go ahead and start reading it. The book review will be due again September 6th. It's on the calendar. So about 3.5 weeks. You got a little bit of time, but go ahead and start reading that. But anyway, he is probably the environmental historian. He's a really cool guy. He's not always the most exciting writer, like I said. 3, you're reading a guy named Donald Worster. He's probably most famous for a book called The Great Plains. He's still around, although he's getting pretty far up there. I think it's in his late 80s. But he is, I think, the first environmental historian in a big way. And he goes all the way back to the late 60s with this stuff. And you'll be hearing a lot about Donald Worster. And the one that may not fit in with the other 3, but I bet most of you have heard of this guy, Jared Diamond. He had a best-selling book called Guns, Germs, and Steel. And I use that quite a bit. I bet other professors use it. And he just published a book last year. He's 82, but he's still going. He's really a biologist and a geographer, but he dabbles in environmental history. And his stuff is actually quite influential. Like I said, I know it's not the most exciting reading this weekend. Do the best you can. Other readings should be a little more pleasant, but sometimes you got to read the boring stuff because it is important. All right. Thank you, guys. I know I've already gone longer than I said I would. That's typical of me, I think. I'll see you guys on Tuesday. I'm looking forward to this class. I hope you are. And take care. And I'll see you guys later. Let me awkwardly try to stop this.